He's not talking to anybody today, because today is the day we do old versus new on Autobot DINO, aka Mirage, but he's DINO because Ferrari, basically this is Ferrari's OC, right? They named him after, like, Dino Ferrari. He's a Ferrari, he's red. Ferrari basically had every say in this character. This is an OC made by Ferrari, the car company. It's like, oh, he's sort of Mirage, you know? But anyways, yeah, because he was Ferrari, and Mattel has exclusive rights to Ferrari Hot Wheels, he did not get an original toy in the original Dark of the Moon toy line. He did end up, however, getting this repaint and sort of remold of Sideways in the Takara Lost Age line, which was basically Takara's Age of Extinction line. Here it is in the box, so you can see this is how it was originally released. Very odd release, but it kind of works. It worked back then, and honestly, I feel like it still kind of works now. But finally, we got a brand new, entirely unique mold in the Deluxe class for Dino in Studio Series. Is he a Ferrari? No. Neither of these are Ferraris, because that, we've just come to accept that can't happen. Thanks, Mattel. But they still try to emulate the sort of fast sports car, red sort of look. And honestly, they're both really good. One of them is definitely a 2009 remold of Sideways, and the other is obviously a brand new, uniquely engineered mold for Dino. But honestly, man, I still like them both. I'm still going to have both in my collection. I still really like them both. So, one clear difference. The size. This is one of those clear instances where you can see how much Studio Series figures have just shrunk. Now granted, the original Sideways mold, I don't have it transformed right. I have it more like humanoid, because Sideways is supposed to have like these crazy legs. He's supposed to look kind of odd. So he's actually supposed to be shorter. So if you actually get him in his chicken legs, as he's supposed to be, you can see he is shorter. So that is something to note. But I actually display him, obviously, with straight legs, because this is supposed to be Dino, and Dino had straight legs. He still has Sideways' little tiny feet, though. I feel like they should have remolded the feet. I feel like it wouldn't have been too hard, either. Just kind of add those side platforms, and you would have been set. Because with these tiny little feet that, I don't even know why he fell. He's normally like a brick. With these tiny little feet, this guy is not like a brick. He falls a lot, especially since he has decent chunk of the car on his back. He's very top heavy, as you can see. He's got a lot of just stuff going on up front. You can see, though, he did pull off a really good, like, crossed arm pose, which is nice. But yeah, this mold honestly does kind of work for Dino. He is really bulky, right? And I don't feel like Dino's supposed to be this bulky. Here, let me get this arm blade positioned right, because I had it sort of positioned different because I had his arms folded. And I did take off the wheels, too. He had, like, these fake wheels on his hands. I took those off because I took those off years ago, because that's obviously not a detail that Dino has. So keep in mind, he's supposed to have wheels on his hands. I just took them off, and I was not going to put them back on for this video because I am genuinely not bothered. But yeah, it does kind of capture the sloped chest with how these details kind of go down. Kind of captures the little things hanging off the side of his head because of how those work. He does have a brand new head sculpt, which I must say is very, very nice. He kind of has like a battle mask, and he has a lot of articulation too. He's kind of got a little bit of tilt. Very, very good head sculpt. Very nice sculpt. And he still kind of has the wings too. He does have the wings right there. You can also have these panels up if you want. I personally wouldn't. I don't feel like he needs that. I feel like that's too much panel. So I usually keep those down on his arms to keep, you know, the red armor on his arms. Kind of awkward figure because it is Revenge of the Fallen Decepticon originally. But still, I feel like it kind of evokes Dino. I feel like it still does. His articulation, you already saw his head. He does have a panel that is, you know, his head's just sitting on. He has butterflies at the shoulders, ball joints at the shoulders, swivels at the shoulders, and you can see a little bit of the mech alive, where it's basically just a hollow joint. You can see his elbows get full range for transformation. Nothing at the wrist. He's got waist. He's got ball joints at the hips, hinges at the knees, and little ball joints at the feet, which kind of don't really help at all for getting him to stand. And you can see these are also new parts, his arm blades. And how they did this, these little tabs for transformation, they just kind of have them tab into there. So it's a very untraditional way to have them on. They're not on very durably, but that's how Takara Tomy sorted that out. And that's how they gave us the only DINO we had for, this came out in 2014. So we've had this guy for about 6-7 years. It's the only DINO we had for that long. Jeez, I can't believe I've had this figure that long. Because I got it right when it came out. Because I was like, DINO, yes please. It's like $40 originally. Like the Takara figures were more expensive, so you did have to chuck like $40 at this guy to get him. Nowadays, I can't imagine how much he costs. Probably not as much now, because nowadays we have the Studio Series. Yes, he's tiny, but oh my goodness, look at how much better he looks. So yeah, entirely newly developed figure for DINO. And he is smaller, yes. I would love to see a KO company upsize this, you know, make him more MP-like. You know, get rid of some of the obvious car parts, make them a little more refined, and boom, there you go. We got a perfect DINO. Because, man, this thing's nice. Let's look at his head sculpt. I feel like he doesn't have the battle mask. Maybe he does. I don't know. It's still a good sculpt, in my opinion. But honestly, man, something about the original one, it just feels more aggressive. It looks meaner. It looks cooler. So I do kind of prefer the old sculpt. I don't think you can swap the heads. You might be able to if you work some magic. They're about the same size, but personally, I think they're both good sculpts. He looks nice, man. I like the paint on the arms. He does have the blades that actually properly tab onto the arms in the proper place this time. So you can kind of have them retracted. They can flip them out, because I think that's how he did them in the movie. I know when he's doing, like, he's not talking to anybody today. They were kind of formatted like this. But you can have him flipped out if he's, you know, slashing and doing all of his, like, DINO stuff where he's all crouched down and like, yeah, I'm DINO. Yeah, you can see he's really posable. Like, you can just get him in a lot of good poses. He has really nice hinges at the ankles. No ankle pivot, but these hinges, man, they give him so much posability. They're really good hinges. He's got ball joints at the shoulders. Let's just go over articulation. Swivels at the bicep, which unfortunately don't really go out too much. They do kind of click in for transformation, but they do go in, so you can at least have his arms crossed. But you can't really put his arms out too much. Just you basically just have to work with what you got there. Like, that's basically all you can do. Nothing at the waist because of transformation. Ball hinges at the, or actually ball joints at the hips go out and all that. Hinges at the knees. And then you can move his wings too. You can move those in pretty much any way you need to, which I really like. So those are really posable. So, really, really nice robot mode, man. I like the chest. I like how that looks. That's way more movie accurate. You may be wondering, where's his car? Where's most of the car? So he does have panels on the hips, panels on the shoulders, his wings. He pulls an RID Viacon. He's basically all folded up. And honestly, man, truth be told, that works really, really well. I feel like this isn't right. Yeah, there we go. That's right. Because that's even supposed to tab in. I didn't do that right. Yeah, that is folded up so nicely and so compactly. Like, he doesn't have a backpack jutting out. He does have a back, right? But he doesn't have a backpack. Like, he's still pretty streamlined. I'm very surprised by that. Very, very surprised. Very, very good figure. But on the other hand, you look at this old one. He's got like this big old chunk on his back. He's basically got the back bumper. He's got like this weird sort of like big old chest look. Because it's sideways. That's how sideways look. That's not how DINO looked. So, of course, it's going to look a little different. So, that's basically the main robot mode comparisons. Personally, I think the old one still has a lot of charm, but in robot mode, I think we have a pretty clear winner for like uniqueness, for articulation, for appearance, for being accurate to the character. This is very much the winner. But man, this one still has a charm. Let's transform Mr. Charman. Charmander. Let's see if I remember how to do this, because it has been literal years. So, I know he's got like a thing where it's like he untabs. I think that untabs, yeah. He's got like a bit of an automorph too. Let's just totally demolish him. Let's just try to do this. Be really careful with those, because I've seen versions of this mold where those wings are broken off. and I don't want to break my DINO. Then that kind of flips in. Ooh, come on. Come on. Ooh. I said come on, mate. Oh my goodness. So yeah, that flips. He's got these little panels here. Definitely, you can see complicated Revenge of the Fallen figure alert. That's that's what we got going on here, man. Complicated ROTF alert. Oh my goodness. I'm getting anxious. Oh man. Oh my. Man, when you film videos, your throat just dies. I have water. I need water. Oh my goodness. Water. Anyways, and yes, you had to sit through that. I could have cut that out, but you know what? Hydration's important. You need to stay hydrated, guys. Coming from someone who actually did get dehydrated once and almost fainted. Yes, please stay hydrated. Water's so good, man. Let's talk about bottled water real quick. Some of them suck. There's this purified bottled water that my work has, and it is trash. Crystal Geyser. I like Crystal Geyser brand. Let me know what you think about Crystal Geyser brand bottled water. Bottled water itself is really horrible for the environment because it's like 1 trillion bottles. I wouldn't recommend you buy bottled water. I would recommend, you use something a little more better for the environment, like a filter for your tap, or hell, just tap water if you live in a good enough place. But yeah, Crystal Geyser is pretty good if you absolutely need to have bottled water, if that's the only accessible thing. So yeah, just needed to get that out there. I absolutely have no other place in my life where I'm going to talk about bottled water in this capacity. So while it was on my mind, I figured, hey, we'll talk about some bottled water. So we're almost done. He is... That's one thing I love about these figures. It's like, it's been years, man, and I still remember it. I love that. So yeah, the blades actually store up in here. They kind of tab up in here. So they actually gave him a place to store as well, which I really appreciate. So, oh my goodness. So close to the end and it's messing with me. So yeah, the blades store up there. Truth be told, man, I don't know if the blades have a place to store on the Studio Series. I didn't look into it. Don't sue me. Yeah, get this kind of oriented. Get it tabbed together. It's an ROTF figure, man, so you're going to struggle. But after the struggle, per any Revenge of the Fallen mold, you are left with pretty good car. Because I think we pretty much got it. Yeah, I think so. There we go. Push that up a little bit. Get that. It's not perfectly tabbed in, but come on, who really cares? So yeah, there is Takara Lost Age DINO, basically in his car mode. And yeah, doesn't really invoke a Ferrari too much, but it doesn't really need to. It's a red car. It's DINO. It serves its purpose. So yeah, that's a red car. That's DINO. That's the only DINO we had for years, except the little. Also is a sideways repaint, the little Legion class. Rolls pretty good, which is nice, especially given how it basically had to implode to transform. Yeah, that's a pretty solid car mode, man. I like that. Like I said, doesn't really invoke the Ferrari too much, but, what can you ask for? Oh, yeah, I forgot that was a part of the automorph. I pressed this button, I'm like, what does this button do? Oh, yeah, I forgot it did that. So, yeah, that is the original one. Now let's look at the new one. You have to pop these off. I've only done this once, so hopefully I remember decently. Because he actually is really unique. His head does the flip-me-do. He basically implodes, I think. Yeah, he's got all these panels that basically implode. You've got these panels. Dude, he is basically panels. Like, after, blowing him up, you can see his back is basically almost all of the car. But it works, and it's really ingenious. You can see all these rotating panels as well. How the windshield is split into, 2 pieces. That's crazy. But yeah, honestly, once you kind of get the groove of it, it's not that bad. Trying to figure out how this works. Oh yeah, these kind of stretch out. Forgot. It's one of those things where it's very rare that Transformers have sliders, but this guy actually does have sliders. And I think his feet kind of go in like that. I think they're supposed to kind of tab together, but they don't. I don't remember that exactly. We'll get to that. All right. And that's his bumper. His legs need to be further back. Yeah, there we go. Then that kind of flips down. And then, oh my goodness. Do I know what I'm doing? No, I don't. Are people gonna be mad in the comments? You bet, because it's YouTube, yeah. Because it's YouTube, yeah. And then his hands, I think his hands tab together. So we want to rotate his arm this way. There we go. Or oh my goodness. I am a mess. So yeah, Studio Series isn't very, like, trying to figure it out. Is pretty much similar result. I feel like his arms are supposed to tab together, and I am not pulling that off. Or maybe, oh, you know what? I forgot he's got like these hinges, yeah. His arms are hinged. So maybe if we hinge them together, rotate his hands, maybe that's how they tab together. Someone who actually knows how to transform this thing is going to be like, oh my gosh, you're doing it so wrong, you're so horrible. But see, I've talked about this in other videos. My theory with Transformers is that they're 3 toys in one. They're a puzzle, they're a robot, and they're a vehicle. If you just look at the instructions, you basically get rid of the puzzle aspect, and you're just left with, 2 toys in one, and you just have to get in between them. But see, I love the puzzle aspect. I love, love, love that aspect of these toys. And I will forever never look at the instructions because I am horrible like that. Okay, so we're making progress. I think his feet go like that. And then, I mean, look at that. We got there in the end. It's like, I love how you look at the tabs and you look at how things fit together, and then you get it. You figure it out. That's so much more rewarding than just looking at the instructions. Like, man, you're doing it the lame way. Now, granted, Masterpiece figures, I don't want to break those. So yes, I don't really look at the instructions. I actually watch reviews. I watch like transformation videos on Masterpiece to figure out how to do those. But once we get everything tabbed together and not imploding, there we go. Get the foot tabbed into the door. It's like, yeah, you just kind of go with the flow, follow how it goes, look at the tabs, and boom. You figured it out on your own. Isn't that rewarding? But yeah, since he's got the, I don't really know if he's got a way for these to tab in. I kind of looked, and I see he's got these little tabs here. Those can work on the top of the car, if you want them to have, like, blades on the top. But I don't think they fit underneath anywhere. If I'm mistaken, I'm sorry. But honestly, who really cares? So yeah, that's DINO. Very solid car at the end of the day. Doesn't roll as good, though. Doesn't roll as good. So that's something to take note of. It doesn't actually roll too well. But it looks a lot more like a Ferrari, especially in the front. Definitely has that kind of Ferrari-looking grille. It's not a Ferrari, right? Like, here's both the cars. That's the actual DINO car from the movie. So yes, neither of these are an exact match. But the Studio Series definitely has the more faithful car. You can see they kind of transform similarly. A little bit. Not exactly, but kind of similarly. The arms at least kind of end up in the same spot. But yeah, man, there we go. Old versus new on DINO. Maybe you could have kept maybe there's a lot of empty space in there. Maybe you could have put him in there. But yeah, honestly, got to give it to the new one. The old one is cool. I have some fond memories of it being my only DINO, but I've never been entirely happy with it. It's a sideways repaint at the end of the day. And man, that sideways mold, this is the only version of the mold I have because I wasn't impressed enough to buy more of it. So take that as you will. It's still a cool figure. It's still really fun and charming. If you really love DINO, if you want to get them all, I recommend it. But if you just want a DINO for your collection, don't even bother with this one. Just get the Studio Series, because even though it does have the small Studio Series Autobot syndrome, it's much better. The transformation's really clever. Once you figure it out, it comes together really nice, really solid. I still, like, this is a solid car. Like, I'm squeezing it and it is fine. If I squeeze this, like, oh dear, it's starting to come apart. So yeah, I love both these figures in their own ways, but by far, I think the winner on this one is the Studio Series. Alrighty guys, thank you so much for joining me on another Transformers Old versus New. I always love doing these. It's just a nice retrospective look at the old one versus the new one, and then like how easy are they to convert, and you know, just seeing how far we've come. Even though in this case, like, even though there is like 11 years of development between these, more like 12 actually, it's like these weren't released that far apart. But still, you can definitely tell how they've refined. Like, they're still both very complex, but they've refined it, and that's a very good thing. But still, I don't know if a kid could ever figure that one out, man. Oof. That's basically an accordion. Alrighty, guys. Thank you so much for watching yet again. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.